I do something that brings me joy every single day.
Your fans, your followers, what do you hope they experience when they're watching you, when they're learning from you?
Joy, first and foremost. I was slightly selfish in starting this social media experience. It was not for anybody but myself. I didn't really have a social media account prior to COVID. I had one for a happy birthday here and there, but I never opened it up. And I was terrified. It was a global pandemic. Who'd ever heard or thunk that would have happened? And I was also really bored because I'm very creative tangibly. I think everybody has their own creative, vein that they've got to full. But I used my hands to work, and that gave me an escape from the spinning mind. And so initially, it was literally just to do something creative while the time passed rather than watch Netflix. And it's interesting how somehow the people I feed with my, I don't know if you want to call it work, entertainment, whatever I do, um, they feed me and I feed them. There's a reciprocity about it. I get excited when I put something out and then somebody DMs or messages or comments that they're going to pull out their tomato red skirt and that they haven't looked at it in 6 years, but I've
Yeah.
reminded them um, about this piece and how they're going to get off their tush and try it out. I hope people get the spark of creativity in their own lives in their own way.
Yeah.
If you're a cook, go and chop a piece of celery, do something exciting for yourself. And another thing, put it on social if you're proud of it, especially if you're a woman of quote unquote a certain age. The more women who show themselves honestly on social media, the more ammunition we give these kids who are being bullied and being, you know, tortured in their own way, um, to step out of that and see that there's life after 25 and it's pretty good.
I love that because I wanted to ask you about that too. It's easy to dream about it, but it's even easier not to post it, to not be seen, to not feel proud.
Yeah.
And watching you step into your pride it gives me permission to step into mine and so many others.
Now, I don't know if I'm actually that courageous. I gotta tell you, okay? Because had it not been for COVID, there
Mhm.
is no way that I would have posted. I posted because I was like, what have I got to lose? I just finished Mad Men. Who knows how long this is going to last? I always wanted to be an actress. I was frightened of the type of career if I was uh, lucky enough to be able to make a living doing it. It was too insecure of a job position for me to actually go to acting school. Like I wanted a paycheck.
Mhm.
I wanted to be an actor because when I was 7, I was put on the stage in a French play in Quebec where I was the Pope. I was not the pretty one. I was the actual Pope with the cap and the cloak and the whole thing. But I got such applause after I had my monologue. I was like, this is the best thing since sliced bread. This is what I want to do. But then as I aged, and unfortunately, as childhood and fantasy sort of is erodes with real life reality, um, I decided to go into clothing design because it was creative and I adored fashion, but I knew I was going to get a paycheck.
Another thing that I love watching too is what you were saying too, you love it when people maybe respond because maybe they're inspired to go and get that red skirt out or get the blue vintage skirt out of the archives or so you're I love how it surpasses trends. But what does real style mean to you? Is it something that is it innate? Do we cultivate it? What is it?
I think style can absolutely be cultivated. One should have the permission to buy the same pair of pants over and over again, times 10 if it makes them feel good. If you can listen to your gut, you're going to naturally cultivate your own style. It may not be, you know, Vogue level, but you will start building a wardrobe that you lean into with comfort rather than stress and anxiety. And you'll know if you're building that if you actually feel, yeah, this feels right. This sits well in my skin.
But do you feel stemming off of that, or do you feel when it comes to what we put on, do you see a lot of people holding themselves back in a way? I think that takes a level of permission, I should say, too. Style, no style, whatever you want to call it. But do you think we hold ourselves back sometimes from self-expression?
Yes, unfortunately. I think there's
Yeah.
so much psychology in that, though.
Hmm.
It depends if somebody put you down when you were a kid once and made fun of your red shoes. You might never wear the red shoes again. There's so much
Yeah.
psychology to that. And I should hope that, my little bits that I do, um, I purposefully try and do them with a very big smile on my face
Hmm.
and a slight goofy nature because I don't want it to be so perfect or serious
Hmm.
because then they might take a chance. The best news of the day is when my friend in LA he's a stylist. He called me yesterday and he says, "You'll never believe I have a new client, blah, blah, blah." And we were talking, and I don't know how your name came up somewhere in the, and oh yeah, he said he knew me and we were meeting up at a certain point. So she said, "Oh my God, Carla Rockmore. Can you please tell her that since I've been watching her, I've been having way more fun with my own wardrobe." And I'm like, fantastic.
That's
Like it
fantastic.
was.
Yeah.
So I'm very blessed that I have this platform. Uh, and what's super exciting is I feel like I'm only connecting with myself more as I age.
Hmm.
And therefore, I'm going to do a better job connecting with people as I age. So I'm
Will you
excited.
talk to me about that more? Because I want to ask you about that because it just this sense of self-discovery and maybe sometimes we can think, is it too late? Or I'm 40, I'm 50, I'm 60. It's too late. It's too late for whatever it is, but to get to know myself more or to really go after that thing or to be creative.
Right.
And you're on this, and you're proof of that, and you're very honest about that continued self-exploration and self-discovery.
Yeah. I'm very lucky. My mother is a very big proponent of doing something for yourself, like figuring out what makes you happy and doing that every day, even if it's for an hour. So, okay, she may have been on the extreme end of the spectrum. She's this fantastic artist, but we maybe ate crap mac and cheese 3 times a night because she was too busy painting. But she taught me early on how important it is to cultivate something for yourself. So I was already on that path. The kids were starting to move on, and I was actively looking for something to do that uh, that was not what I'd always done. I was given the gift of age, and therefore the pivot seemed easier at in my mid 50s.
Mhm.
Uh, than maybe earlier on in my 30s when I was crazy busy with babies and career.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I had this space where I had cultivated a career for a long time, um, but it wasn't feeding me in the same way that it used to. You assess your life. You literally do a life
Yeah.
assessment and see, where next am I going? Because if you don't do that, then you're going to live the exact same way until your life is over. And we only have one. And we're not getting any younger. And do we want to live this life for the next 20, 30, 40 years, God willing? What's the worst that can happen? You make a mistake. Nobody's dying. You learn. Mistakes can be the best thing
Yeah.
in the world because you hopefully learn something and don't repeat them again. But there is prep and there is work. It's not going to fall from the sky. I can't stand it when I see my somebody make a mood board, like a vision board. What is vision board? Okay. And on the vision board, you've got, the five-story house, and you've got the Ferrari, and you've got the, Gucci purse, and it's all sitting there, and you're staring at it, but you're not starting to take the little micro
Yeah.
step to just get that first job as a junior journalist
Yeah.
and work at it and work at that craft that you love tirelessly and regularly until it slowly builds. Mood boards are like compound interest. Just put a little bit in every day, and at the end, it will pay off.
At the Sunday paper, we like to help people live a life above the noise. There's so much noise out there. There's so much chaos and clutter and the headlines and the vitriol and all of it. How do you live above the noise?
I make sure to focus on something that's just for me, that brings me joy, that I can manifest without spending any money, without leaving my house, without um, making this huge mess that I'm going to have to clean up afterwards. I do something that brings me joy every single day. And I try to compliment somebody every day.